Sahir, thank you so much for joining us. Define disruption. What does it mean to you?
I think disruption as a concept and disruption in the real world are two different things. It's easy to have disruptive ideas. However, it's far more challenging to actually disrupt an industry or a particular way of working. I think Peter Thiel actually says it well in his book, where he talks about you having to be 10x better than the status quo before you can even consider that you're disrupting something. So the word is used loosely and applied probably not as loosely or as well, simply because people don't actually realize that there's a tremendous gap between saying I'm going to disrupt such and such industry and then dealing with the actual nitty-gritty challenges and the boots on the ground challenges of actually doing that.
What are the leadership challenges that disruption poses?
I think the primary challenge is the word itself implies something that's fast-moving, dynamic. So you have to be able to move quickly, but at the same time, you've got to maintain some cohesiveness from both a corporate perspective, if you're in products, a product perspective. So it's very difficult to, from a leadership perspective, to actually enable your teams to build out and to actually be free thinking and to move in those directions while still maintaining a cohesive vision of where the company is going from a longer term perspective.
You founded 2 companies, so can you give us one specific example of a leadership challenge that you might have faced because of disruption?
I think recruitment and hiring is one, and it's not probably the sexiest one, but what we find is the space I'm in, cybersecurity, is hot right now. IT is one of the highest paying industries, cybersecurity is the highest paying in IT. So you get a lot of people who actually want to come in. We actually have to change the way recruitment is done. We can't rely on the way it's traditionally been done because there's a huge talent pool, but most of the people are not necessarily job ready. Now, a large company can take the time to train them on the job. Smaller companies, startups have to find a way around this. And we've done fairly innovative things in terms of actually gamifying the interview process, where we give people challenges and things like that, technical challenges, where they work for 3 or 4 days and they come back and they say, we loved your interviews, which is normally something that you wouldn't hear someone say.
Does technology drive digitization or is it vice versa?
As a technologist, I'm obviously biased, but I do believe that technology brings in the state of the art and the other things follow. So if you talk about even regulation, legislation, it typically catches up with technology. So there are a number of places where you see the technology is not socially accepted, but after some time, we kind of bring ourselves to the point that we say, yes, we will adopt this, this will become mainstream. So I would put technology first.
How relevant and important is it to have a plan?
I think it's very important to plan and then, essentially be prepared that your plan is not going to actually work. Mike Tyson said it well. He said everyone has a plan till they get punched in the mouth, right? And I think it's the same thing. So spend a lot of time planning, but then once you're done, prepare that that plan is just not going to, materialize the way you expected it to.
Okay. So far, technology has been used to provide solutions for known problems.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see technology actually playing a role to solve unknown problems or addressing unmet needs?
I think if you look at spaces like artificial intelligence, we're barely coming to grips with what those technologies can do for us. It could be something as simple as, your alarm clock knowing that you need to wake up at a particular time, down to something as complex as, curing cancer. So the second we say that technology can actually think for itself, move ahead, take steps away, you're going to find that many use cases that even the inventors of the technologies themselves didn't foresee actually come forward and solve problems that we have, but we don't typically think are technology challenges at all.
What is the one big disruption that you see in 2016?
Well, again, I'm biased. Cybersecurity. I think we're talking about digital India, smart cities. We're connecting a number of things online and we're not necessarily understanding. It's great. I mean, don't get me wrong. But we're not really understanding what are the associated risks. I'll give you a simple example. We're a country of 1.2 billion people. Every one of us has a mobile phone, which is basically a full-fledged computer. And we're not a tech-savvy population per se. There's a huge opportunity for cyber criminals the world over to target our populace as they come online because they're not tech-savvy and they're entering this sort of wonderland for the first time. So I think that's going to be a key driver for 2016 and the next 3 years.
which would mean a big opportunity for you and your company.
It's a good space to be in, yes.
Okay, Sahir, thank you so much for joining us.